Yeah.
Konbanwa. お客の皆様、お待たせいたしました。本日のお忙しいところ、多くの方にお集まりいただきまして、誠にありがとうございました。ただいまより、Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore の Center of Excellence である MIJSC India Japan Study Center、短くして MIJSC のファウンデーションで設立費を開始させていただきます。私はサオミニと申します。本日は司会を務めさせていただきます。A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Foundation Day of MIJSC India Japan Study Center, MIJSC, a center of excellence at the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. I am Saumini, and I will be your host for today. I would like to thank all of you for joining us on this special occasion. MIJSC は IIMB において研究教育拠点として設立され、日本とインドのそれぞれの企業界に関してお互いに利益となる共同研究や提案を促進しています。MIJSC was set up as a center of excellence at IIMB to serve as a facilitator for many collaborative initiatives among the academia, the industry, and government agencies between India and Japan on various areas of mutual interest. 今年、MIJSC は5周年を迎えます。Today we celebrate the 5th anniversary of MIJSC. 続きまして、本日のテーマを紹介させていただきます。つなぐ、探る、発展です。Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce the theme for the sessions today. Connect, explore, and develop. In the first session, Connect, we would reach out to the center's stakeholders and understand from them the nuances of India and Japan's relationship from their own perspectives. In the second session, Explore, we would be sharing with you a video of all the activities at the center, especially focusing on the achievements over the past 12 months. As you will see, despite the COVID-induced restrictions, there have been many initiatives that have progressed very well. We would also be hearing from two leading academics about strengthening the research and related academic bonds between the two nations. Another highlight of this session would be the release of two major publications. As you will see, these books of knowledge are one of the key contributors of this center during this year. In the third session, Develop, we will be hearing from our partner, namely Mizuho Bank, as to how they visualize this relationship with MIJSC at IIMB. ただいまより本日のセッションを Kaishi itashimasu. We will now begin the first session for today. We are privileged to have a keynote address by the Indian Ambassador to Japan, His Excellency Ambassador Extraordinary Sanjay Kumar Verma. Due to certain exigencies, he is sending in his thoughts on this occasion through a recorded message. However, we are honored to have the physical presence of the Consul General of Japan, Consulate of Japan in Bengaluru, Mr. Nakane Tsutomu, the Director General of JETRO, Bengaluru, Mr. Mizutani Toshihiro, and two leading academicians, namely the Dean of International Relations, IIT Hyderabad, Professor Tarun Panda, and from the Japanese Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Professor H.S. Prabhakar. We will also have a message from the President of the Mizuho Bank, Mr. Kato Masahiko, on this celebratory occasion. We also have amongst us today dignitaries from the industry, academia, alumni, and students who are present here with us physically and virtually. We warmly welcome all of you. It is my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to Professor Krishna D. Sundar, who is the chairperson of MIJSC since its inception in 2017. Sir, I request you to address the gathering.
Good evening. Once again, welcome to all of you to MIJSC India Japan Study Center's 5th Foundation Day celebrations. I take this opportunity to welcome our director, Professor Hrishikesha T. Krishnan, and the keynote speaker, His Excellency Sanjay Kumar Verma, Ambassador of India to Japan, whose recorded message would be played shortly. And I also welcome the Consul General of Japan in Bangalore, Nakane Tsutomu-san, Bangalore JETRO Director General Toshihiro Mizutani-san. I take this opportunity to welcome. Also, I would like to welcome Dr. H.S. Prabhakara, who was professor at JNU with a focus on Japan studies. Also, I would like to welcome Professor Tarun Panda from IIT Hyderabad. Besides the industry veterans, supporters from Indian industry as well as from Japanese industry in India, students, researchers, and well-wishers of MIJSC India Japan Study Center. Once again, at the cost of sounding repetitive, I welcome you all to this 5th MIJSC India Japan Study Center's Foundation Day. A brief overview of the center. The MIJSC India Japan Study Center, the name itself shows the kind of a support that we are getting from the industry. Main benefactor happens to be MIJSC Bank. With its support, we are able to initiate lot many activities with significant amount of resource strength that is provided by them. Industries like Toshiba Software India Private Limited, Takashi Ishikawa-san, who is a great well-wisher of MIJSC India Japan Study Center. Baby steps have been taken by MIJSC India Japan Study Center in the last 5 years with the focus on research, outreach, and industry connect activities that is of interest to both India and Japan. In this context, MIJSC India Japan Study Center has sponsored 10 funded research projects, where 6 have been completed and 4 research projects are going on. Similarly, few elective courses have been on and being offered as part of our degree granting MBA program from the center. besides that, there are so far 2 books have been published and 1 monograph has come out, besides a couple of books that are going to be released today. This is from research and publications point of view and teaching. And the industry connect and support, IIM Bangalore faculty members are interacting and doing industry funded projects like the agencies like Forum Industries, as well as Hitachi Corporation. And with Toyo Inc., the conversation is on. So IIM Bangalore faculty members are actively involved in supporting industry needs also. Along with this one, I'm happy to bring it to your notice. Besides our academic partnerships with Hitotsubashi University, Waseda University, Keio University, Kyoto University, Tokyo University, and International University of Japan, besides Meiji University, Musashi University, NUCB, and Nagoya University, where recently Takashi Ishikawa-san has connected us to Nagoya University, where Professor Ozaki, who is the professor of intelligent transportation systems, mobility, and autonomous driving. We are pursuing these relationships in collaborative research and also student exchange. Having said that, one interesting thing that I want to bring it to your notice is with Hiroshima University, we are able to get the 5-year funding from the Japanese government as an international partner, along with Sheffield University, New South Wales University of Australia, BITS Pilani, as well as IIM Bangalore, and Hiroshima University is a prime mover as part of the inter-university exchange program, where the project is Agile Entrepreneurship Program through international collaboration, where 50 students from all these 5 universities will be exchanging, meeting, and traveling to Japan over the next 5 years, every year 50 students, to look at innovation and entrepreneurship in the emerging areas. So details will be worked out, but I'm very happy to bring this a small step forward in the collaborative initiative and area between the emerging areas and countries, more importantly anchored by Japanese University, Hiroshima University, supported by Japanese government. Having said that, the other programs of Mizuho India Japan Study Center is Visionary Learning Communities of India, which has been approved by our internal processes, and the program is designing and everything is over, will be launched soon, and also Japanese language programs. And along with this one, there is a Japanese section that we are intending to create and provide in our library, and work is on. Work is on in bringing up the Mizuho India Japan Study Center's physical facility, a building, would be a reality soon because of various known and unknown reasons. There was a delay, but it will happen soon, where Mizuho India Japan Study Center will have its own facility. And these are all small steps in moving forward in achieving much larger, ambitious dream and agenda. As the saying goes, this 1,000-mile journey is starting with these small baby steps. Now it is the 5th step. And once again, I welcome you all to this Mizuho India Japan Study Center's 5th Foundation Day celebrations. And I thank you very much for your involved activities, support, guidance, warm wishes, and suggestions that we are receiving continuously. I look forward to such kind of a involved support from all of you in the days and years to come. Once again, welcome to IIM Bangalore, and MIJSC. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that succinct introduction to MIJSC, Professor. I would now like to invite Professor Hrishikesha T. Krishnan, the Director and Professor of Strategy at IIMB, to address all of you.
Yeah, good evening and a warm welcome to this 5th Foundation Day of the Mizuho India-Japan Studies Center. At the outset, let me compliment Professor Krishna Sundar and Mr. Ratnam and others in the MIJSC team for the hard work they have put in during the last few years in setting up this center. This is the first country-specific center that we have set up at the Institute. And for us, therefore, it is a learning journey in what it means to have a country-focused center in an Institute of Management. So I must say there are several interesting projects that have been initiated. Some have already been completed, and we look forward to the further activities of the center in the years ahead. On this occasion, I would like to particularly thank Mizuho Bank, which has been very generous in its support for the center at the Institute. We have benefited not only from their financial support, but their active interest in the center. And this has been something very valuable to us as we build and grow the center here at IIM Bangalore. I'm particularly happy that we have some very eminent guests with us today. I would particularly like to welcome the Consul General of Japan, Nakane Tsutomu-san, for being with us. Good evening, sir. I would also like to welcome Toshihiro Mizutani-san, the Director General of JETRO here in Bangalore. And of course, we are shortly going to hear a recorded address from the Indian Ambassador to Japan, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma. So I'm also particularly happy to see so many of you present this evening with us. It's certainly a source of motivation for all of us that so many of you have chosen to be with us this evening. And this is a good opportunity for us also to learn from all of you what are your expectations for the center. And hopefully we can translate those expectations into reality in the years ahead. So let me once again thank everyone for being here. Thank the organizers for this event and congratulate everyone who's been involved with the center for all the achievements in the last 5 years and look forward to many more in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that very warm welcome message. I would now like to share the message from Ambassador Sanjay Kumar Verma, Ambassador of India to Japan at Tokyo. Prior to this, Ambassador Verma was in Hong Kong, China, Vietnam, Turkey, and Italy. He's passionate about information technology and the delivery of people-centric services using interactive technologies.
Chairperson, Mizuho India-Japan Studies Center. Director, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Consul General of Japan in Bengaluru. Director General for JETRO in Bengaluru. Distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. Namaskar, Konbanwa. At the outset, I would like to thank the MIJSC and IIM Bangalore for inviting me to speak on the 5th Foundation Day of MIJSC. It is an important milestone in the journey of the center, which has been making commendable efforts in deepening the understanding of Indian and Japanese industry among the government, academia, and business communities in both our countries. Warm greetings to all the participants in the event of today. Friends, I have been asked today to share with you my perspective on India-Japan relationship. As you would be aware, we are celebrating 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relations between India and Japan. Over the course of these 7 decades, our partnership has strengthened and got transformed into a special, strategic, and global partnership. Japan today is one of India's most trusted and valued partners in the world. India and Japan, as has been noted by our Prime Minister on various occasions, are natural partners. Our ties have seen remarkable progress in the last few years and cover a wide range of areas, including trade and investment, industrial development, infrastructure, digital, energy, human resources, critical and emerging technologies, climate change, health security, space security, defense, and indeed overall regional and global security and prosperity. The annual summit held in India earlier this year between Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji and Honorable Prime Minister Kishida Fumio has infused the relationship with even greater energy and momentum. Just last week, both India's Defense and External Affairs Ministers visited Tokyo for the 2+2 ministerial dialogue and had a productive exchange of views with their Japanese counterparts. With the easing of COVID-19 restrictions in Japan, we plan to continue the momentum of such high-level exchanges between our two countries. While economic cooperation continues to be a major pillar of our bilateral relations, and I will talk about this in greater details later, there is a strategic convergence in the outlook of our two countries. As our External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, stated during the 2+2 ministerial dialogue, strategic aspects of our relationship have gained a new meaning in recent years, reflected in our recent bilateral and plurilateral engagements. Both countries are committed to the common strategic goal of achieving a free and open Indo-Pacific that is inclusive and resilient, based on the rules of law and free from any coercion. The 2+2 ministerial dialogue demonstrated the commitment on both sides towards deepening bilateral security and defense cooperation. Partnership with Japan also constitutes an important component of India's Act East policy. The two countries have set up an Act East forum under which several connectivity and other developmental projects are being implemented in the northeastern region of India. Let me now come to the economic partnership. Japan has been a valuable partner in India's initiatives for infrastructure and economic development. It has supported several flagship infrastructure projects in India. Japan is also one of the largest investors in India. The target of 3.5 trillion Japanese yen of public and private investment from Japan to India was set in the year 2014 to be achieved till 2019, but it was achieved at least a year in advance. Now the two countries have set up a more ambitious investment target during the recently held annual summit. 5 trillion yen, or close to, say, $40 billion of investment in public finance as well as private finance from Japan to India over the next 5 years. I'm sure once again we will be able to reach this target much in advance. Our bilateral trade stood at $20.57 billion for the financial year 2021-22. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the largest ever figure of our bilateral trade. Friends, you would agree that the concept of economic security has acquired greater salience for countries across the world. It is also important for both India and Japan to focus on cooperation in sectors that can help ensure economic security for both our countries. We have already started working in this direction, and many positive steps have been taken in achieving the same. I have already referred to one such step, which is the investment of 5 trillion Japanese yen into India from Japan, both public and private sectors. Another major initiative is the setting up of an India-Japan Industrial Competitiveness Partnership. The objective, as the name suggests, is to enhance the competitiveness of Indian industry with the help of Japanese experience and promote industrial cooperation, including in the areas of MSMEs, manufacturing, and most importantly, supply chain. A clear roadmap to implement the Industrial Competitiveness Partnership was adopted by the two countries during the recent annual summit held in New Delhi. Closely related to economic security is the issue of reliable and resilient supply chains, which I just mentioned. India and Japan are committed to work together towards reliable, resilient, and efficient supply chain and are engaged on this issue both bilaterally as well as through the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative involving India, Japan, and Australia. While the scope of our economic partnership is wide-ranging, I wish to focus on a few key elements of this partnership. These are also areas which can contribute to the economic security of both our countries and indeed the region. First one, which I want to mention, is the area of skill development and movement of skilled workers from India to Japan. This is one of the most promising areas where complementarities between India and Japan and our economies can be taken advantage of. All of us present here today know that the Japanese economy requires foreign skilled workers due to its aging population and still growing economy. On the other hand, India has a huge demographic dividend. In India, over 50% of India's population is below the age of 30 years. On its part, the government of India has been implementing Skill India program to enlarge the pool of skilled human resources, which can be utilized to meet the requirements not only of the Indian industry, but also of the industries in friendly countries such as Japan. Let me briefly mention what the two countries have achieved so far in skilling and facilitating the movement of Indian workers to Japan. First, Japanese companies have set up 22 Japan-India Institute of Manufacturing and 8 Japanese endowed courses in India. Second, a memorandum of cooperation between India and Japan on a specified skilled worker is facilitating movement of workers from India to Japan in 14 categories of specified skills. This adds to the progress made under the Technical Intern Training Program. It is also good to note that several technology companies from Japan like NEC, NTT, Rakuten, Hitachi have made India as their R&D hub and have created employment for thousands of highly skilled Indian personnel who have added value to their operations not only in India, not only in Japan, but also globally. While we have made remarkable progress, more can be done. We need to continue our efforts towards synergizing India's demographic dividend and Japan's capital and technology. A stronger skill development partnership will pave the way for greater mobility and movement of skilled personnel between the two countries. This can be achieved by better implementation of existing mechanisms and by creating new frameworks, possibly such as migration and mobility partnership where required. Second focus area is digital cooperation. Both countries have institutionalized cooperation in this domain through the India-Japan Digital Partnership, which allows us to tap into synergies and complementarities between Japan's Society 5.0 and India's Startup India, Digital India, and similar programs. Japan has embarked on a number of reforms in digital governance and digital transformation. Under Digital India, we have implemented various key mission mode programs such as world's largest digital identification scheme known as Aadhaar, India Stack, which provides framework for financial inclusion, digital payment services by providing the UPI framework and identity verification based services, platforms for e-education, platforms for e-health, government procurement portal, smart farming, amongst many, many more other such projects. Considerable potential exists for collaboration and cooperation in e-governance for further strengthening the India-Japan digital partnership. Indian information technology companies and startups can also work with Japanese SMEs in enabling their digital transformation. I understand that NASSCOM from India is interested in taking this forward by setting up a virtual platform. We would be very happy to facilitate such initiatives from the industry. Digital cooperation is also closely tied to our skill development partnership. The METI in Japan has recently launched the Asia-Japan Investing for the Future, known as AJIF. Under this initiative, the Japanese government will provide support for 50,000 highly skilled Asian professionals in digital technology and other in-demand fields to seek jobs in Japanese companies in Asia as well as in Japan over the next 5 years. India is one of the main focus countries in this initiative. On the innovation front, we have been emphasizing on the theme of co-innovation, co-creation, and co-production. Startups in both countries are central to enabling cooperation through this approach. India has one of the world's largest startup ecosystem with over 75,000 registered startups now. Over 100 of these startups have become unicorns. Japanese startup ecosystem is also receiving greater attention and focus from the government and industry for its further growth. We need to strengthen our efforts to bring together the two for innovation and product development. Third is the energy partnership. We are working on strengthening cooperation on sustainable and clean forms of energy, including nuclear and renewables, exploring possibilities for collaboration in hydrogen-based energy, ammonia, ocean renewable energy, while also continuing our efforts for cooperation in use of clean coal technology. During the last annual summit, India and Japan launched a clean energy partnership which aims to promote energy cooperation between Japan and India through diverse and realistic energy transitions, utilizing all energy sources and technologies to ensure energy security, carbon neutrality with economic growth. Japan is also part of India-led international framework such as the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. Healthcare cooperation is increasingly becoming an important part of global diplomacy. The pandemic has exposed the risk of dependence on limited resources for essential and key medical supplies. We have also seen the disruptions in the supply chains, and therefore there is an immense potential for India-Japan collaboration in the areas of pharmaceuticals, medical device manufacturing, and indeed research and development. Last but not the least is the people-to-people ties which form the bedrock of any relationship, especially so in the case of India and Japan, which have had centuries-old people-to-people and cultural linkages. The two countries have an ancient tradition of scholarly and spiritual linkages. While today, language may be an impediment to free exchange between our people, I feel that is an immense potential in bringing the people of our countries together through various projects and cooperation in higher education and facilitating academic, parliamentarian, industrial, media, youth, and sports exchanges. In fact, a group of parliamentarians is currently visiting Japan to hold wide-ranging discussions on taking India-Japan partnership forward. I'm also happy to note that we are seeing increased interest in Japanese language education in India. Language is the key to building long-lasting understanding and people-to-people linkages. As the two countries have eased COVID restrictions, we hope to see greater people-to-people exchanges, including in its cultural forms. This brings me to the end of my remarks. I wish to once again thank the organizers for inviting me to speak today I also convey my best wishes to the center for all its future endeavors. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Namaskar.
Ambassador Verma has given us a very informative message regarding the relationship between the two nations on this important year, marking the 70th year of diplomatic relations. Thank you, sir. Zai Bangaruru, Nihonkoku, Soryojikan no Soryoji no Nakane Tsutomu-sama o Danjo ni shotai sasete itadakimasu. I would like to invite the Honorable Consul General of Japan, Consulate of Japan in Bengaluru, Nakane Tsutomu-sama, and address the gathering. Prior to his current role, he held various positions, including the Director, Consular Service Division, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Sir, I request you to address the gathering.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nakane Tsutomu, Consul General of Japan in Bengaluru. First of all, I would like to congratulate MIJSC India-Japan Study Center on its foundation day. Even under the current threat of the coronavirus that the whole world is facing, MIJSC has not stagnated its activities and has responded and adapted to this emergency situation and to try to foster cultural and institutional links between India and Japan in order to contribute to the further development of the two countries. MIJSC aims to be a networking hub that prepares students, researchers, and policymakers with a deep understanding of the business environment, policies, innovation, sustainability, intellectual property rights, and business practice of mutual interest to academia, industry, and government agencies in both countries, and to develop and promote partnerships with well-known Japanese universities. We are grateful to IIMB for its efforts to promote human and academic exchange, but building and promoting cooperative relationships with well-known Japanese universities. Implementing an exchange student program and cooperating with surveys and research conducted in Japan. As an example of in activities, IIMB conducts academic exchange with universities such as Hitotsubashi University, Waseda University, Keio University, Kyoto University, and the University of Tokyo to contribute to the development of their respective industries. I'm aware that MIJSC places a high priority on partnerships with startups, and that MIJSC has a program to screen companies with startups, and that MIJSC has a program to screen companies according to its own criteria and introduce selected companies to Japanese companies as potential partners, and that MIJSC has an incubator facility to teach startups business management, know-how, and networking. The Japan-India Startups Hub, located at the JETRO office in Bengaluru, is a system for promoting startup exchange between India and Japan. The MIJSC is an extremely important organization as a complement to this and as a facilitator of cooperation around startups between Japan and India. This year marks the historic 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Japan and India. It is still fresh in my mind that on March 19th of this year, Japanese Prime Minister Kishida held a summit meeting with Prime Minister Modi, where the two leaders discussed the collaboration, deepened the Japan-India Special Strategic Global Partnership, the Industrial Competitiveness Partnership, and continued cooperation through the promotion of Japanese-style monozukuri initiatives, etc. Japan is well aware of India's high economic potential and strongly believes that the MIJSC, building on the current strong foundation of India-Japan economic relations, will continue to play a key role in further promoting cooperation in the promising areas of IT, startups, digital, finance, and science and technology, and in further deepening India-Japan cooperation. We appreciate your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that scintillating address. Arigatou gozaimashita. MIJSC にとって JETRO は重要なパートナーです。JETRO バンガルールのダイレクタージェネラルの水谷俊弘様を紹介させていただきます。Japan External Trade Organization is a Japanese government organization that works to promote mutual trade and investments between Japan and India and is an important partner to MIJSC. It is my pleasure to introduce the Director General of JETRO, Mr. Mizutani Toshihiro. Prior to his current role as the Director General of JETRO Bengaluru, he was with the Research Planning Department, IDE. Sir, I request you to address the audience.
Okay, thank you for the introduction for me. Chairperson, MIJSC, Professor Krishna Sanda, Director of IIMB, Professor Rishikesha Krishna, Consular General of Japan, Bengaluru, Mr. Nakane Tsutomu-san, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mizutani from JETRO, Japan External Trade Organization, Bengaluru office. I would like to congratulate on MIJSC's 5 years completion and entering into the 6 years. Also, I would like to express my sincere respect to all of you who have worked very hard to a further development of MIJSC. Today, I visited this place for the first time, and I have never known such a place exists here in Bengaluru when I was in Japan. I am very pleased to have this opportunity to speak with you today. Personally, It's been 2 months since I was assigned to DG of JETRO Bengaluru office. For me, it is a very first time to work in India, and I enjoy working now here. JETRO is a Japanese government organization under METI, Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. We have 75 countries, 75 offices all over the world, and about 50 offices in Japan. Bengaluru office was opened in year 2006. So it's been 16 years since we have establishment of this office. We, JETRO office, mainly support business collaboration between Indian and Japanese companies for all sectors. But nowadays, mainly collaboration, especially in IT or startup area. Before coming here, I had been engaged in a research of ASEAN countries for many years. I am very happy and lucky to have a chance to engage in a new field. JETRO has 5 offices within India. It's New Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Ahmedabad, and Bengaluru. But I believe our daily task here is very unique and special. This is because we are based in Bengaluru cosmopolitan city, by far advanced for its internationality, openness, and friendliness to the world business. Japan has a strong manufacturing industry, but in Bengaluru, I think Indian startups, IT-related companies will strongly support the activities of Japanese companies. It is truly a win-win situation for our 2 countries. By the way, I think most of you might not know, but JETRO is collaborating with IIT Hyderabad, and we support Japanese companies to employ young talented Indian students to work for Japanese startup companies. We also provide business support in such area. As you know, Japan is a very matured country and have the average age is already 46 years, whereas India average age is just 26 years. The other day, I had an opportunity to talk with those students, and I was very impressed with their high level awareness. Also, I had a chance to speak with Japanese representative of startup company, and he is extremely happy to employ those talented Indian students. He said their company only hire Japanese students who graduated from UT, University of Tokyo, the best university in Japan. But even they are very amazed of those young Indian talents. They said they have not met such a young talent in Japan. The Japanese representative also emphasized that young Indian people are playing a very big role in changing the mindsets of Japanese young people. With doing such a project, JETRO would like to contribute on revitalizing business between India and Japan. I've got to know MIJSC is organizing a lot of seminars, workshops, and symposiums, and give many people new perspectives and business opportunities. I would like to express my respect for MIJSC's effort over many years. As a similar organization that provides various business opportunities for our 2 countries, I hope that we can continue to cooperate with each other. Again, congratulations on this anniversary ceremony today. I wish MIJSC's further development in the future. Dhanyawada, thank you very much.
Indeed, a captivating address. Arigatou gozaimashita. This now brings us to the conclusion of session 1. This session has showcased interesting perspectives from various facets, including academics, industry, and policy frameworks. In the next session, we will delve into the overview of MIJSC's journey and look at research linkages between India and Japan. We will now watch a very interesting video presentation of all the milestones that have been achieved and crossed in the past year.
MIJSC was set up in September 2017 to facilitate collaborative initiatives among academia, industry, policymakers, and society of both the countries to work on areas of mutual interest. The center aims to become a leading research and networking hub. We would be sharing highlights of the activities of this Center of Excellence over the past year. One of the flagship projects of MIJSC has been the webinar series. The objectives of these webinar series are to bring in experts from various fields who can share insights on select areas of India and Japan interactions. This program was designed to be a bi-monthly event and has covered many areas. These series have two formats: Tatsujin Speak, where individuals will share their thoughts; Mejin Samvad, where a panel of experts who will discuss on their different perspectives. MIJSC has been funding research projects on varied topics. Professor A. Damodaran has completed a major research paper.
A novelist from Japan with a novelist from India. We come across two different textures of writing, one by Tanesaki, the other one by Ismat Chogatai. Both are approaching womanhood, but from the point of view of their distinctive milieu in which they have situated their novel. There is need for a greater analysis of a similar kind between different texts, one from Japan, one from India, and for a given period of time, so that we get some very interesting insights both on Japanese and Indian societies during important historical junctures.
3 more projects are in the pipeline. Strategies for Dynamic Management of Innovation in Technology Products by Professor Ishwar Murthy.
The primary objective of this research project is to develop strategic analytical models that will help technology product companies to navigate through innovations in a manner that maximizes the chance of success while also minimizing the extent of failure. Our proposal was to examine this issue from 2 perspectives. We will first explore strategies for the market leader in terms of what they need to do to maintain and extend their premier position as the market leader. We also explore strategies that the principal competitor can adopt so as to overtake the market leader to become the new market leader.
Demographic Complementarities and Opportunities for India-Japan Engagement by Professor Rupa Chenda.
Japan is one of the countries most affected by aging. This research study aims to identify how India's demographic dividend can be leveraged to address Japan's labor market needs through bilateral engagement. Examine the demographic complementarities between India and Japan in terms of the sectors, occupations, and categories of workers. Review the functioning of India-Japan arrangements with specific focus on the India-Japan Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreements provisions and bilateral discussions in the health and IT sectors. Suggest possibilities for sector or occupation-specific arrangements to address labor market shortages in Japan.
Automation, Aging, Skill Realignment and Labor Market Outcomes in Japan by Professor Tirtha Tanmay Das.
This study on automation, aging, skill realignment, and labor market outcomes in Japan examines how technological progress and automation interact with the workforce in Japan. This study sheds light on the patterns and possibilities of skill realignments and examines their implications for addressing potential labor market shortages. Furthermore, this study also looks at how these transitions will affect levels and distributions of earnings in Japan.
MIJSC has been coming out with publications in the form of coffee table book and monograph, which integrates the seminar, webinar, and the research projects. Volume 1 of this series was released in September 2021 during the Foundation Day. Volume 2 is scheduled to be released during this Foundation Day in September 2022. The other publications on Japan produced by our stakeholders would also be released later this year. Mr. Ichiro Hoshino has had a long association with India, is working on a book which explores his perspectives on Japan and India, looking at these relationships through both historical and modern lenses. The center is involved in many academic initiatives. One such elective program is Business Planning for International Markets Japan, BPIMJ. The objective is to enable students to appreciate the complexity of business creation in a culturally different region and includes a 2-week immersion in Japan. Another such program is Japan Economics Management, Politics and Society, JEMPS, which is designed to help students understand the recent history of Japanese economic development with a focus on the structure of Japanese political system and its interaction with the economy. The center is involved in many executive education initiatives. One such program is India-Japan Leadership Program, IJLP. The objective is to enable the executives and entrepreneurs from both countries to develop innovative project ideas with suitable action plans. Another such program is Business Organization and Management Japan, BOMJ, which is designed to give skills for doing business with Japanese companies. The quality of engineering education in India is not up to global standards, thereby significantly reducing the employability of these engineers. Visionary Learning Community of India, VLCI, bridges the gap between what industry needs and what engineering colleges and students expect. It exposes the engineering students to a different paradigm of manufacturing, namely flow-based manufacturing. To reignite the program, MIJSC is focusing on retraining faculty at the engineering and polytechnic colleges. In order to create not just industry-ready but Japan-ready graduates, focus is on giving Japanese language inputs to develop conversational competency in the students. MIJSC is also working on developing massive open online course MOOCs programs for students and faculty, which will ensure world-class inputs and reduce variability in program delivery. MIJSC has many interesting and exciting projects in which we need the buy-in of all its stakeholders. Corporate support for these initiatives will help the center reach these goals sooner. Though we are a 5-year-old center of excellence, we feel that the journey has just begun.
I hope that this presentation has given you an overview of the milestones that MIJSC has crossed over the past year. Professor B.S. Murthy, Director of IIT Hyderabad, was unable to join us today. Representing him, we have amongst us today the Dean of International Relations, IIT Hyderabad, Professor Tarun Panda. I request you, Professor, to share your thoughts on this occasion.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, all the dignitaries and distinguished guests present today's event. And good evening, all of you in the audience. So this is my utmost pleasure and excitement to be here at this event. I would like to thank Mr. Saideep and other organizing committee to invite me here to give my thoughts in this event. I also congratulate the entire team of MIJSC India Study Center for its 5th Foundation Day. I am very much impressed that MIJSC India Study Center is actively organizing various events focusing on explore the various perspectives with respect to the India and Japan relationship, research on various aspects on India and Japan relationship, and discussing the support that is being extended through the partnership between the two countries. Thus, I understood the fundamental objective of this center is to bring the two nations closer through the academics as the industrial partners. So being a chemistry professor, I understand to make a bond, we need the two different or same elements. So we know, and I assume, or I also am sure that you also know, there are several kinds of bonds are possible. One of them bond is the ionic bond. So ionic bond is formed when one element is completely giving the electron to the others, okay, making a positive, and another one is a negative to make an ionic bond. This is governed by the electrostatic force. And also this ionic bond is some sort of a fragile, because when it comes to a polar media, then two ions are separated, okay. So in contrast, there is another kind of bond is also possible, that is called covalent bond, where covalent bond, the two elements share the equal amount of the electrons to make a bond. And this bond is quite strong as both the elements are sharing the electrons together to make this bond. That means they are the stakeholder, they nurture this bond, and this bond is sustainable and most thermodynamically stable. And I am sure you all have observed the carbon dioxide. They have a covalent bond between carbon and oxygen atoms. Also, you can see the oxygen molecules, they also have a covalent bond. Hydrogen molecules, they also have a covalent bonds. And that's why they are very stable, and we always encounter with them most of the time. So thus, in my opinion, the relationship between these countries, India and Japan, must be through this covalent bond. So where the stakeholders or partnership should come from both the countries. It is not like an ionic bond that where one country will give in everything. Okay. I am sure that MIJSC is doing to this kind of activities for the covalent bond. So in this respect, I also would like to say how this IIT Hyderabad is doing a fantastic work with the Japan-India collaborations. So if you see the brief history that way back 2007, when the earlier Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh and Shinzo Abe met, and they make a policy decision that how the Japan will make a consortium of Japanese university and will support the IIT Hyderabad. So now we are getting the fruits of that policy, which was done in 2007. And currently I am telling that IIT Hyderabad is enjoying the support from the Japan in the two verticals. IIT Hyderabad is the first IITs where they gave a funding support to make the buildings, iconic buildings of IIT Hyderabad. And if you visit IIT Hyderabad, you can see several iconic buildings, mostly designed by the Japanese architecture, are coming by the support of the JICA funding from Japan. In the another vertical also, Japanese government, or the JICA, I will say Japanese funding agency, supporting the students and the researchers through the Friendship Project. And some of the outcomes of the Friendship Project, I would like to say, in the first phase, during the 8 years from 2012 to 2020, so we have signed 56 MOU with various Japanese universities. We have done more than 200 students exchange between the IIT Hyderabad and the various Japanese universities. And JICA have provided 138 fellowship to the Indian students, mostly in IIT Hyderabad, to study in various universities in Japan. Also, we have 71 joint publication came out through this project. Additionally, 51 patent was filed through this project. So as you can see, the quantum of the outcome because of this collaboration, how it is intense, and we are bringing the Japanese university even much closer and making a very, very strong bond between that. And my understanding is that we believe the goal of the MIJSC India-Japan Study Center and IIT Hyderabad are much similar to strengthen the bilateral relationship between India and Japan through academia and industry. So when our goals are same, why not work together? So I also invite to MIJSC to work together to make it to another level, to work India and Japan and makes the nation and much more stronger. Once again, I thank MIJSC India Study Center for inviting me and sharing this thought with all of you. And also, I would like to thank all the audience for listening me. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you for that very fascinating address, Professor. I would like to now introduce our next speaker, Professor H.S. Prabhakar, retired, Japanese Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He is a veteran of Japanese policies and processes. I request you, sir, to address everyone.
Very good evening, everyone. I thank the organizers for inviting me. 皆さんこんばんは。私はプラバカルと申しますので、デリのジャワハラール・ネイル大学の国際関係研究の大体37年前ほどからずっと日本のいろいろなことを教えてました。専門は政経ですけど、現代日本の変わっている政治と経済のことです。If I speak both in Japanese and English, I need double the time. To avoid that, since everyone understands English, I prefer. From academic viewpoint, as I have seen myself in about 37 years of teaching Japanese studies, there are quite a few areas which could be called potential, very potential for conducting research and carrying on. But at the same time, examining the Japanese university scholars who have worked on India, and at the same time, Indian university professors who have worked on Japan. I did compile quite a few comprehensive lists years before. Unlike in India, where we have few centers totally devoted to study and research contemporary Japan, we don't have such departments in Japan, where there are individual professors who have taken great long-time interest in studying or covering India as a part of their larger Asian studies. But very recently, say about 12 years ago, Japanese government decided, because of India's high growth potential and their interactions with India, certain nodal centers, 6 such centers in different Japanese universities, including Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima, and others. But there were few moved away to other countries, giving halfway Indian studies of their mission. All that they produced were reports of visiting India and doing some projects. And now they are, one is especially in Hiroshima University, Professor Yoshida Osamu. He has become now a specialist of contemporary Nepal rather than of India. Anyway, that apart, I would like to show some areas which have great potential for conducting research on contemporary Japan. Say, for example, there is a misconception that it's only in the post-World War II that Japan became a great economic country or an entity. Not so. it was Meiji restoration, say from Meiji era, 1868 to 1912. That was the one which laid the full infrastructure for overall development of the nation. And especially the military and industrial and business growth was such that Japanese could very easily win their first war against China in 1894-95 with Shimonoseki Peace Treaty. And in 1902, they had a agreement, Anglo-Japanese treaty. And in 1910, they occupied Korea. And in 1904 and 5, they won war against Russia. And during the First World War, they were on the side of the victors. And in 1918, they were recognized as an international power and invited to the Paris Peace Conference. In 1922, Washington Conference, 25 League of Nations, then 30 and plus, Great Depression and impact on Japanese economy. That transformed the entire Japanese national energy towards getting to World War II, unfortunately. But World War II ended and Japanese lost the war. They also invited to some extent US to war in bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because they first, and before that, attacked Pearl Harbor. Anyway, it's US who led the occupation period, 1945 to 1952, when great many reforms were introduced, thanks to which Japanese national economy could return easily to pre-war economic growth level. So 1952 to 1972, if we take its high growth era, 10+% of national growth continuously for 20 years, which rarely a country has. So thus we can see a story of 20th century as a re-emergence of non-European countries into positions of preeminence. I think Japanese success between 1952 and 72 can be seen by the international media during 1964 Olympics, when international media was present, covered the growth story of Japan. But unfortunately, 1973 oil crisis hit the Japanese economy so badly that oil crisis happened and price rise, supply cut. So they had to, by compulsion, go to non-energy forums as a dependence for energy. Industrial restructuring so well happened that virtually the Japanese ended their dependency for industrial production, national growth, and export. It was export-led growth Japanese experienced. Then they, under the category of transfer of technology, they moved away to other Asian developing countries, petrochemicals, textiles, paper and pulp, such pollution-breeding industry. They moved only to electronics and automobiles, had great success. In the 1980s, one could see Japanese really experiencing impact or results or outcome of such high growth. But yendaka, high-end phenomenon in the 80s, really, late 80s, you had 79 Japanese yen equivalent to $1. But till 1985, New York Plaza Agreement, 360 fixed yen per dollar. That helped greatly the exporting industries, and Japanese wealth was built on that. But in 1990s recession, subsequently impact of recession continued for such a long time. They could not return to high growth. Now it is stable economy, though there are plenty of invisible problems. If we try to look only externally, Japanese economic structure, and look at, oh, it's a great, wealthy country. No, not so. There are, I think, a lot of domestic problems. If any researcher ignores the domestic aspect of the Japanese economy, probably one would not succeed easily, greatly. I think these are some potential areas on which one could focus upon in study. I was so happy that there was a social science dimension, which the MIJSC Center is trying to cover it up. I think I bring, besides greeting from School of International Studies, on my personal behalf, and also on behalf of India-Japan Roundtable that I founded, and Delhi University Japanese Studies and other India-Japan forums that exist in Delhi. Everybody's good wishes to the program, just about short 5 years only in existence, 2.5 and 3 of that have gone in Corona period. And 5 year is a very small gestation period to review a program. I think you have a long time to move on. Very often you have mentioned it's just the beginning. I think we wish great luck to the program. And I would personally, and otherwise my network and preferences would pledge with the center for any development. This is all I could say because I was asked to cut short my presentation from 15 to 10 minutes. Good luck to the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for the insightful address. As you witnessed from the milestone video, MIJSC has been hosting a webinar series, bringing in experts from various fields of studies. It is also funding research projects on which the faculty of IIMB are working. We have attempted to integrate the learning from the research projects and the seminar webinar series into a coffee table book and a monograph book. While we witness a video presentation on what these books contain, I request the Counsel General, Nakane-sama, and the Director of IIMB, Professor Rishikesha T. Krishnan, to release these books. Thank you, sirs, for releasing these publications. The Volume 2, Issue 2 of our newsletter captures the activities at the center till date and also highlights the upcoming programs. As we watch a video presentation of the newsletter, I request Director General of JETRO, Mr. Misutani Toshihiro-sama, and MIJSC's chairperson, Professor Krishna Sundar, to officially declare these publications open. Thank you, sirs. Ichiro Hoshino-sama was the operating officer of Mizuho Bank and the COO of Mizuho Bank India. Currently, he is the general manager for global operations of Mizuho Bank. MIJSC has requested Hoshino-sama to write a book on India and Japan as seen from his perspective. We are happy to share with you today a sneak preview of this book, which is scheduled to be released in October. Mizuho Ginko Shacho, Oyobi, Saiko Kei Sekinin Shano, Kato Masahiko Samao, Shokai sasete itadakimasu. It is my pleasure to introduce to you all Mr. Kato Masahiko, who serves as the President and Chief Executive Officer of Mizuho Bank Limited. Mr. Kato has shared his message through a video. Allow me to share this with you all today.
Namaste and good afternoon to all of you. I'm Masahiko Kato, President and CEO of Mizuho Bank. I would like to begin by thanking His Excellency Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of India in Japan, Mr. Tsutomu Nakane, the Honorable Consulate General of Japan in Bangalore, Professor Rishikensha T. Krishnan, the Director of IIM Bangalore, Professor Chetan Subramanian, the Dean of IIM Bangalore. Professor Krishna Sundar, the chairperson of MIJSC, Mr. Saideep Rasnam, the CEO of MIJSC, and all other distinguished guests who are present here at IIM Bangalore, both physically and virtually, for this special event. We are all gathered here to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the India-Japan Study Center, which was inaugurated in 2017. Last year, this center was renamed Mizuho India-Japan Study Center, which is a great honor for us. Mizuho Financial Group is one of the largest financial groups in the world, with nearly 150 years of banking experience. We do business with over 70% of the listed companies in Japan, as well as major multinational companies and local industry leaders around the world. Mizuho has been operating in India since 1996. Over the years, it has expanded to operate 5 banking branches, 1 Mizuho Security subsidiary, and 1 global operation center. Now, nearly 1,500 Japanese companies have subsidiaries or offices in India. We have supported many of these companies as well as Indian and multinational companies. Recently, we led the establishment of the Indian-Japan Fund of Funds. We also extend financial and strategic support for the development of startup ecosystem and other new initiatives in India. Through these activities and experiences, we have to come to understand the possibilities of business expansion in India and the potential of India as a country. Let me share one episode that tells the potential of people in this country. We established Mizuho Global Service India in March 2020 as our first global operation center. Immediately after the center's establishment, we saw the COVID-19 outbreak throughout India, resulting in a severe lockdown. While it initially seems to be a potential stumbling block for the centralization project, what we saw instead was the dedication of India staff who faced this difficulty with patience and overcame each challenge with the jugaad spirit. Without that, this project would not have been so successful. The company currently operates with more than 100 staff and is accepting orders from the America, Europe, and Asian Pacific. We believe that India has a strong power to nurture and attract talented people. With regards to the Indian-Japan Study Center, now renamed Mizuho Indian-Japan Study Center, we have been offering support, both financial and non-financial, since its establishment in 2017. We have been offering lectures for the students' delegation at our head office in Tokyo almost every year, and have also supervised a number of business case studies on Indian-Japan collaboration. My predecessor, Mr. Fujiwara, was honored to visit IIMB and IJSC in 2019. We are looking forward to strengthening our tie with MIJSC by continuing to offer the expertise gained from years of experience engaging with all clients in India. We wish MIJSC and IIMB all the success to realize its cherished vision, mission, and contribute to a successful collaboration between the two countries. I wish you all the very best of health, success, and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your message was truly inspiring. I now request the COO of MIJSC and alumnus of IIMB, Mr. Saideep Ratnam, to kindly share the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed my pleasure and privilege to propose this vote of thanks to all the people who have made this event possible. As a great man once said, feeling gratitude but not expressing it is something like wrapping a present but not giving it. So here is my attempt to acknowledge all the people who have helped us to make this event happen. I extend my sincere gratitude to the keynote speaker, His Excellency Sanjay Kumar Verma, for his inspiring message to the center and to all of us, both in India and in Japan. The message from the Consul General was very insightful. Thank you, sir, for being with us today. As we at MIJSC consider that you and your office are important stakeholders for our center's growth. JETRO and MIJSC are, in the language of Professor Panda, a covalent bond. And we feel that there is a lot of synergy that we can create. And Mizutani-san's presence today reinforces that relationship. The presence of two academics, Professor Prabhakar and Professor Panda, would hopefully lead to greater interactions between our institutions, especially in the field of research as an agenda between us. Mizuho Bank's support to this center is not really measurable. Apart from their president, Kato-san, whom you just now heard, the support of Otake-san, who has traveled all the way from Mumbai, and Furukawa-san, of course, from Bangalore, and their team members who are all present here, has been rock solid all these years. Thank you very much. The presence of senior leadership of Toshiba Software and Mitsubishi and other companies, both Indian and Japanese, has boosted our morale this evening. Thank you for being with us today. The presence of many industry leaders who are sitting here, who are linked with VLCI program, as well as other programs at the center, is truly inspirational. Thank you for taking time and be with us this important event. I would, as regards IIMB itself,
the presence of senior leadership, the faculty who are all here, reinforces their support to, and this support is very crucial to this center's growth. Of course, internally, the MOOCs team, led by Usha, Sushma, Sanjeev, Yusuf, is truly commendable to make these videos in a very short time. The wonderful support from all the departments of IIM. I have to name, it's a long list, but I will attempt it. It's the communications department, the IT, AV, UDS, security, transport, MDS, EEP, accounts, and of course the stores department. These are all have helped us to host this first event, which is on a mode like this, physical mode. And post-COVID, this is the first time we have got together like this with no major glitches. Thank you very much for all this. The two books that we have just now seen released, and it would not have been possible but for a company called Jalakara, which has been a great responder to our all our crisis calls. The splendid MC support, bilingual MC support that we have had from Soumini-san. Thank you. You made a very difficult task seem very easy. Now, of course, very briefly, I will have to acknowledge the MIJSC team. Currently, we have two pillars, Soumya-san and Lakshmi-san. Lakshmi is always in the background, are the two pillars. And Soumya, apart from juggling her various responsibilities and burning the proverbial midnight oil, has volunteered to be the voice of the video that you saw just now. And what a great job she has done. Lakshmi is, of course, the efficiency personified, coordinating a million agencies in a very effortless manner. Above all, ladies and gentlemen, it is your incredible participation and support that has really been making us tick. Thank you. This hall, of course, is full. But apart from this, there are over 60 registrations on the internet. And we are very happy that all of you have helped us to make this event a very memorable one for us. We are looking forward to meeting up with you in the forthcoming events organized by this center. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, sayonara.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for your participation today. We conclude today's events here. Please join us for dinner in the woods at the Management Development Center. Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen.